welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build video, and this is a factory slash warehouse conversion into a dream home slash super home slash family home. Like, it's like a bunch of different things, but I've got so many things I want to talk to you guys about. I want to talk about the new Sims 4 update. I want to talk about the inspirations, what I've been up to lately. So it's gonna be a bit of a slightly longer video than I've been doing lately, which have been a lot of like 20-minute videos. But yeah, let's just get straight into it. I've never said that before, and it didn't sit well in my heart. Like, I didn't like saying that. There's nothing wrong with people who say that, but it just did not feel like me. But yeah, let's get into it, I guess. So basically, I'm going to talk about basically where I got the inspiration from this from. And before I get into that, can you tell I really like the kitchen? Because I don't think you really understood how much I really love that kitchen. I included like 4 clips of it in the beginning, and on my TikTok, there's also going to be pictures of it because I really love the way the light hits it. It's just such a beautiful kitchen, and I think I really nailed the whole industrial vibe of it. But yeah, so my inspiration for this was I was on TikTok, as I normally am, looking at people's really nice houses and just being absolutely, you know what, I won't say, I was gonna say being absolutely jealous, but I'm not actually that, I'm not often that jealous of other people's houses, because it's like, I'm such an indecisive person. I'm always like, okay, if I had this house, I would also want that person's house. So I think I'm really like aware that I would want other people's houses, even if I had my quote unquote dream house. So I guess I'm just normally just like, oh, I want to like be there for about 2 weeks and then leave. I want to be there for like 2 weeks and like leave. So I think that's why I don't really get that jealous when I see other people's houses, but I get really intrigued because it's like, you have such a unique way of living, which sounds like an insult, but it's honestly is a compliment. You have such a unique way of living. Like, I really want to see like what your mental process is that goes behind why you chose to live there, why you chose to convert it into this. And what I'm specifically speaking about is that I was on TikTok and I saw that this one woman lived in this school conversion house, and I was like, that is very intriguing. I remember I saw her before. This is not the first time I've ever seen her, but this time, as an avid Sims 4 builder, I really paid attention to what she was talking about in terms of like how it is living there and what it really looks like. And I was like, this is such an interesting concept and topic, because I know people do warehouse slash factory conversions. That's why I did one, but I was like, this is such an interesting thing to have as a conversion, because a school is just such a massive place, and even though it borderlines on the capacity of a manor, and a lot of people do live in manors, surprisingly, it's just so obscure in terms of how it's like designed, especially room sizes. Like, it's clearly designed to hold up to maybe like 20 to 30 people per room. So to have a bedroom that particular size, and then to have like the layout where it's very functional, is really interesting. But I know that people do that again with warehouses and factories, and I think that's why I was just so interested into doing something like this, because it really does give off the same kind of aspect as that. And I was just like, yeah, this is what I have to do. And maybe in the future, if I wasn't already currently building a school, I will build another school and turn it into a conversion, because I really think like it's really cementing in my soul like how interesting that is. Because it's also kind of funny, because I know people do turn houses into schools, like people do turn manors and stuff like that into schools and that. So I was like, I know it's a thing that can kind of go back and forth, like it can kind of go side by side, but to actually see it played out was just really interesting. And I was like, I need to do something like that. And the type of aesthetics that I normally see of people who do these kind of things, it's a very boho chic kind of look, very maximalist. That's why I actually really like how this looks like white and black. It looks really nice, but to really add into the fact that it is an old warehouse turned into a home, I did have to put brick on it, but it looks really nice white. I think if you want to, you can change it into white stone if you wanted to really have that kind of really modern chic kind of look, but I had to keep it in the stone. Because what I also saw on TikTok as well is that I saw this video of what really prompted me to do warehouse, because I already thought of, I wanted to do something very very like conversion style, like a modern contemporary building turned into a conversion. But what really cemented me in the fact that I wanted to do a factory is because then I ended up on this really big like pipeline of people who live in very obscure buildings, and then I saw that there's this like warehouse specifically in London, because in England we have so many factories, especially in the West Midlands. Like, we'll call the Black Country for a reason. Actually, I don't think that's why we call it Black Country. I think we call it Black Country because of coal, but I'm gonna say because of factory as well, because I thought it was smog. It could be both, I don't know. I know someone's gonna tell me I'm wrong. But I know we have a lot of factories here, specifically within Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester kind of area. I know that Manchester have a lot of warehouse apartments which look so beautiful. So I know that this is what we have. So I was looking at people in London, and I saw that they live in like apartment shares in these kind of like warehouse factories, and I thought this was just such an intriguing thing to live in, because they normally share a kitchen but they have their own individual rooms. And I thought initially I could do apartments, but then I realized I've already done it. I've already done that. So I need to do something completely different. I need to make a house, and I really love this house. So, and the people I saw within the warehouse apartments in the videos, I saw that they had very like maximalist themes. So they had a lot of bright colors here, a lot of antiques there. Like, you could see that these were individual personalities, or it was an accumulation of individual personalities throughout the years that have come into this one particular space. And I thought, you know what, this is such a perfect thing to do. So that's why I decided to end up just making it entirely one house, because I've already made an apartment and I really wanted to keep the same scope of like style, interior design as I go through it. So I thought the perfect way to go about it is to just make it into one house. And where else should I put it if not my celebrity save file? So I had a lot of fun doing this. It was one of my is fun is the word. It was one of my more fun builds to make, because I don't really explore with my maximalist style, because it's just such a unique taste, I would say, for people to enjoy. Because with a minimalist style, or the beige or contemporary style that I normally have, it's normally maintained in a way that anyone who just download my builds can really have the best of both worlds. Like, you can build off of it because it's that basic. But this is like, this has a story to it, and I don't really build too many builds with stories to them. I just kind of do very generic things. Normally the stories are for the Sims that I'm building them for, but again, the stories for the Sims are very generic as well. So this is the first time I really had to do something where I had to really think about which Sims are gonna live here. And I keep talking about how fun it was, but as a builder, when you build specifically, especially for content, you can kind of get really lost in it, and you kind of think of, oh, okay, this is what's going to be okay, this is what's going to be liked, or this is what's going to do well this week. And even though I said in 2024 I'm not going to do that, which I'm still not doing that, half of the things I'm building are really like off topic from what I'm seeing on Google Trends. Like, at the moment I can still see people are interested in life and death builds, they're interested in Ravenwood build, interested in apartment complexes, and I'm out here building a factory. So it's very like not what's currently going on, but I was like, I really want to build this. Like, this makes me excited to turn on the game, so I decided to go for it. And it was an interesting journey, because I haven't really made a factory before. Like, even the past factory I did for the apartment, it wasn't truly a factory in the sense that this was. And I don't know if other builders know of this, or other artists know of this, but when you get a particular vision in your head, sometimes you have to like research it and be like, have I seen this before? Because this seems too like vivid in my mind. And there probably is something like this. I don't think this is the first ever time I built this particular design. It's a very generic factory design, but the skylight aspect, I was like, this is such an integral thing in my mind. I need to make sure that I'm not actually accidentally like plagiarizing off of someone else's factory build, because I was like, I really have to create this. There is something so integral in me that is just like, you have to create this. Like, this is, and it was again, I need to stop saying how fun this was, but this was generally, as I'm looking back on it, I don't wish I could do it all over again because I don't really like building the same thing back to back. But it's like the next time that I do decide to make this, I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing it. I think this is almost as reminiscent as when I built that mega RV or camper van. That was just such a load of fun to do, and it was nothing to do with anything going on, but I just had this idea in my mind, and it's just like, this is what I want to make. And it's the same thing as when, I know 2025 I said I wouldn't bring it up, but my Gotham build, that was just again something really abstract. It wasn't something that was really being like talked about at the moment, but I was like, I really want to build Gotham, and I still want to go and play in the Gotham build now I think about it, because it's such a great build. But anyway, I promised myself 2025 you wouldn't talk about it, I wouldn't talk about it. But this was like that thing. I was like, oh, this is just such a fun concept to do. But as I was saying in the, because I'm going to start like gloating how much fun this was, as I was saying, when I was doing my primary research of the primary or secondary, come on, I've been to university, I should know the difference. Actually, I'm going back. But this was, as I was doing my secondary research and seeing how other people live in these warehouses, I saw that a lot of them looked quite derelict on the outside, so they didn't actually look like habitable zones. And I was like, this is something that I really want to incorporate in this as well. Like, I really want to keep the essence of this was a factory, this was a warehouse on the outside, and then really make it into this really nuanced thing on the inside. Like, I wanted, as you can see, as I'm adding the furniture and the furnishings and everything like that, I really do try and make it look lived in and modern, and these Sims actually live here compared to the outside where it looks kind of abandoned, because I like the aspect of people just walk past this warehouse, don't even care too much about it, but these one couple saw it and was like, this could be a home, and they decided to make it a home. And I just really love that kind of prospect when it came to making it. The one thing that I have noticed as I was building it and as I continue to look at it right now, it feels very warm. That's why I went for the maximalist style, because you really need to make it feel very like homey and everything. But no matter radiators I put in this build, no matter heaters, could make me feel like I will be warm here. Because a lot of the Sims that live here don't really have like a lot of full clothes, because this is built at Del Sol Valley at the end of the day, so it is a very sunny aspect, so they wouldn't normally be wearing layers on the inside, let alone on the outside. So I kept looking at it, and I had to really imagine myself and think, though it looks cold because it is a factory, I need to promise myself it is warm. So I tried with the warm colors. There's a lot of yellows in it to really add to the whole sunshiny, yellowy, warm kind of environment, add that warmth in there. But it really just looked very cold. Like, I know that if I was there, it would take me a second to get used to the temperature. And let's talk about the heat. Prices would be high. Like, the heating would be high in this place. That, and since there's like a lot of windows, and I made this in the style of, this is somewhere that's in America, a lot of the windows I've seen in America, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're not the single glazed. So in the UK, especially in the house I live in right now, it's triple glazed, so there are 3 layers of windows on it. It's very difficult to break a window, but it's not made entirely for the purpose. These triple glazed windows are also made to insulate heat. At this moment in time, as Britain is very, 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 very cold, it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it's insulating heat, but that is the purpose of them. But these windows, especially, I didn't add a cracked effect. I should have added a cracked effect. Now I'm looking at it, but these windows, I imagine they're single glass, and they don't really insulate that much heat, so the heat really does come from these old radiators. And though we don't have it in the Sims, I would imagine they also have a carbon monoxide alarm, because of the amount of radiators and how old they are. I would think they emit a lot of carbon monoxide because of this. So I really did try and like add as many as I can, add the grungy kind of very lived in feel, because I imagine that they didn't even want to paint over the walls. I think they may have painted over the areas that they feel like specifically needed to be painted, but realistically they were just like, we're not going to spend a lot of paint in this place. We brought it for the sake of how it looked. Like, it looked very lived in, very realistic. So I imagine that they just was like, I'm gonna keep the paint as it is. I'm gonna keep the whole scratchy looking effect and everything. And I really like that about it, because when you look at it on an outside perspective, like if you really like pull back from it being The Sims and you just kind of look at it, it really does feel like a realistic home, even though it's Max's match and it's now CC, which I want to pat myself on the back. I did not think ever that I will be able to do a build such as this and maintain it being non-CC, but I did. And I think I almost like came alive when making it, because I realized every single time I make maximalist builds, I realize there is so much more when it comes to the build by section in The Sims than I'm really used to, just because I do a lot of contemporary basic builds, but there is so much more in terms of the maximalist capabilities of this game. So I was just really like, this is one of the few homes that, surprisingly enough, even though it's the most like audacious kind of design, like who really is out here living in a factory, it feels like the most homey in my head. It really just feels like, it feels like a home. But I want to talk a little bit about The Sims that is like, I'm making my favorite part. So, okay, this little nook area, I don't really do a lot of things that include pets or that really concentrates on pets, but I have a lot of more things coming out that also showcases the inclusion of pets. And I thought underneath the staircase, the most beautiful thing to have is this little nook for the dogs. So I think they have, I forgot what the dog's called, I forgot what the breed is. Oh, okay. I forgot what the breed of the dog is. I'm so sorry. But they've got a dog and a cat. So the cat normally stays in the office because the office has more orangey tones and it likes that. But the dog is quite I don't know, very social, so it wants to stay more in the public eye, within the people, within the family. So they stay under the nook with all those really comfy pillows, and I thought that just makes, because a lot of the pet stuff looks very flat. It looks very uncomfortable for the animals. So I really wanted to make it look like, okay, they'll be comfortable here. But yeah, that's what I did, and I really love how that came out. It's such a cozy little space, and since there is so many skylights here, when it gets closer to sunset, you can really like see the sun shining in, and it's just so beautiful. With the skylight options, the skylight feelings, and like just the amount of light there is in this place, I thought what would make a warehouse even colder is if there was a lack of windows. And a lot of warehouses do have windows, but not as many, especially in the UK. There's actually not that many windows in warehouses, and I can imagine why. But this thing, I was like, the only thing that probably would have done like very industrial in terms of renovation in order to make this like a really comfortable home was reinforcing the windows and creating a whole bunch of skylights and stuff around the place. And I really like how that ends up just creating so much light in this really quite open space, and it makes everything look very, like, again, very warm. It adds that warmth in the very coldness of it, because I was originally, you don't see it because I don't really do the like room layouts and the wall paintings because I'm very indecisive. That's like my longest process in terms of building houses and building other builds, is deciding what wallpaper, what flooring I'm gonna use. So when I was doing it, I kept looking at the flooring and I was like, that looks too grey, that looks too cold, like I don't know how this is gonna fit against color. And I was really, really concerned. I was like, I don't know, it looks really nice, but I don't know how it's gonna do with the brown tones, because I want to add quite a bit of brown tones in it, because the styles I use quite a bit of within this to, in order to find the furnitures I want, is I use the boho style selector, I use the mid-century style selector, I use the industrial style selector, and I use the vintage style selector. So I don't maintain all of these just because there's a lot of things that aren't categorized in these specific places, but that's what I mainly use. I also use the shabby one as well. But when I clicked on the industrial one, I was like, this is gonna look very metallic. I need to find things that are gonna add that warmth into the space. And this little shot of me decorating this kitchen area is just absolutely divine. I really, really love like the use of plants as well that I did. I'm just hyping myself up a lot. I'm so sorry. You're gonna probably think this is really egotistical, but I like a lot of my builds. I won't pretend I'm someone who doesn't like my builds. I like a lot of my builds, but you can even see me going in first person mode, and I was just clapping myself on the back. I was just like, you really did that. Like, that's really nice. I'm not someone who's gonna pretend that I don't like my builds. I do like my builds, but there are other builds where I do think I could have done better, but I don't know what I could have done better on. But this build, I legit can't tell you what I think I could have done better on. I really love every aspect of this, but I really love the kitchen because I added that wall of windows, which I was unsure about originally, but then when I saw it with the brown furnishings and everything, I was like, oh, this is so nice. This is so pretty. And adding those extra bits of like flowers and everything and like greenery to really make it cozy. I really love the way that kind of just like united the space a little bit more, made it feel like you're bringing that outdoors in, especially because they don't have a garden. I think that's one of the key aspects of this. I wanted originally to create them a rooftop garden, but then I realized the way that I've done the room layout, there is no place for me to put stairs, and a ladder would not seem as extravagant enough for the type of build that I'm creating. So I ended up just not doing it and just putting a lot of the crystal squares we have from Island Living on that place in order to again generate another light source, because there is so much light in this build, and I feel like I don't have the best G shade and I don't have the best like lighting, just because I use a HP Pavilion. It was like £400. It is not even a gaming laptop. I need to save up money for a gaming laptop, but without a job it's a bit difficult. But I'm getting there. I'm getting better. Hopefully I'll get a job soon. But it's a very long process. But anyway, I'm not talking about jobs here. But I don't have the best computer to play The Sims. I use an SSD. I use the Crucial, I don't know what type, but it is Crucial. That's the SSD I use to play The Sims. But even still, that makes my game a little bit laggy when I use a G shade. And it's been a little bit laggier recently, even after the update I did recent that we got yesterday. But that's what I've been using quite recently in order to that's what I've been using since I've ever started this channel, in order to create what I can create without the restrictions of my laptop. And sorry, my voice is just getting really croaky because I don't really talk for this long. But that's what I normally do in order to like create these videos and just generate The Sims in general. But because of that, I don't really have the best lighting. I don't know if my lighting is on max on my settings. I'm not too sure. I would need to check on that. But because of that, I feel like if you have a better computer, I feel like the lighting could be even better when it comes to this entire scene. So like, yeah, the skylights, the windows, I think the windows are from Moschino stuff. So if you don't have Moschino stuff, it's kind of really difficult. But I feel like you'll be able to find something if you don't. You could potentially use the Greenhouse Haven kit we have. I think so, maybe, because I do use that for the windows and the doors, because it does have, again, one of my other favorite checkered windows. And yeah, I really debated with myself, do I download the industrial kit in order to add the venting system? But then I really sat myself down and be like, and I was like, do I have that much disposable income? Now you're probably thinking, it's only $4.99. Clearly, oh, you could have brought that. But then it's like, I don't want to buy too many things for my game because it will lag it, and I want to save space for anything we have coming out this year, or anything we got coming out in the future, because we've got a lot of stuff with the 25 anniversary of The Sims. Like, 25 years. The Sims is how much older than me? 2 years older than me. So we have 25 years of The Sims, and we've got a lot of content coming based off of what they said. So I just kind of want to make sure that I don't overload my game. If I'm only going to need a pack for one specific build, and I'm not going to use it routinely, I won't download it. And I think that's why I've been kind of on the fence on whether to get outdoor retreat and jungle adventures, because there is nothing in that pack that I specifically think that I'm going to routinely use. But I did save that for other packs, and then I ended up just like using them a lot. Like I do use a lot of Growing Together, and I never expected that to be like a massive build pack in my head, but it is apparently. Specifically within this build, I don't actually use a lot of Growing Together in this build. In this build, I use quite like these room dividers. That is really cute and really cool. That's actually from, I believe it's Dine Out, but I do use quite a bit of high school years. I use the chair is actually Growing Together, I believe. I use a lot of neon lights from Lovestruck. I use a lot of stuff from Lovestruck, and I use quite a few stuff from Island Living, and I use quite a few stuff from my cats and dogs, and I think this bird thingy is from Life and Death. Like I think this is one of the first builds in a very long time I haven't used quite a lot of stuff from Life and Death, which I want to give myself a pat on the back, because those counters tempted me, but I refused the temptation. And I also use quite a few things from Horse Ranch as well. But that's mainly the gist of the things that I use in this. And just to create that colorful vibe, most of the colorful things are from high school years to create that, style. But basically, I'm going to talk really quickly about the Sims that live in this house, because I'm realizing that I am running out of time. And for some reason, I didn't even talk about what I'm up to. Barely talked about the anniversary. I've been mainly talking about this house. I've been gushing over it. But wait, what? Pause. No. I've been like, the term, like gushing, like, happy. But basically, the Sims that live in this house, you might have recognized them, you might have not. But if you were here for long enough to see me build my like slasher cabin, it is the same Sims from that, and it is the same Sims from the yacht that I built earlier. The husband did pass away because my game is a little bit broken, and when it ages a Sim, it ages them straight into elderly years. And yeah, but I did revive him using MC Commander, I think, or was it UI extension? I'm not too sure, but I did use a cheat to revive him and bring him back. But I kept him at his elderly age because we do have quite a few teenagers, and they did have a son, but he's moved out and he lives with another Sim that I feel like if I go through the story of trying to remind you guys who that Sim is, it's just gonna be a very long story. But it is the Sim from my second mid-century house build, the white one. So he basically lives with her. So this is just the two daughters and them, and I imagine that this factory was an old like furniture. I was originally thinking like textiles, but I was like, there's a lot of like old furniture on the outside, so it makes sense that this was like a factory where they built a lot of furniture, and I imagine that's what it used to be. And then they brought it and they just fell in love with it, and I imagine they're quite creative people. I imagine that they're either like art collectors, like I feel like they're very like, because this is on my celebrity safer, I feel like they probably, it's not a job on The Sims, but they probably do a very niche rich job, like those jobs so niche to the rich that we don't even know exist, such as I feel like an art collector, like someone who's like in charge of, just not like someone who's in charge of a gallery or anything, but someone who's just in charge of like, like coordinating where art goes and looking at art and stuff like that. So I feel like that's what she is, and I think that's what Amaya is. And then what Spencer is, the husband, I'm not too sure. I think he maybe just has generational wealth. That's what I give people when I don't know what they're going on about. But the two daughters, Marion and forgot the other daughter, but the daughter that lives in the blue bedroom the daughter that has the blue bedroom, she's the daughter that's like more fun. She likes fashion. She's the one who's like trying to be an influencer of fashion and everything. That's why her like fashion area is so open. And she also loves a lot of things to do with like boho chic and stuff. So she loves her plants. She loves all of that kind of thing. She's just very whimsy. But then the other daughter is very like grunge almost, but she's got that mid-century esqueness to her. So she loves a lot of retro themes and pieces, but she's more like musically inclined. So she has her guitar. She's the one who mainly uses the piano downstairs, and she's just got that very like grunge kind of vibe, and that's why her outfit is just more like, very kind of that kind of vibe. But yeah, this is basically the gist of the house. I can't believe I talked almost 30 minutes about creating it. I never do that, but I really hope you guys like it. I took a lot of time to do this, and I really love how it came out, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but if you don't, that's also okay. I appreciate you staying this long and listening to all of my ramblings. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below. I read all of your comments, the more the merrier, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.